Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So our group represent about imperata cylindrica in Malaysia plantation as invasive species. Okay, so my name is Fatah Asana. So I want to introduce to you guys about these invasive plants. Our focus is on imperata cylindrica, known as cogon grass. It is an aggressive perennial grass, and it usually grows about 1 to 3 meters tall with a leaf about 2 centimeter wide and 80 centimeter long with a sharp tip. The flowers are white and feathery, which help the seed to spread easily by wind. Besides that, this plant has a strong underground rhizome system, so it can survive many soil types and regrow quickly after disturbance. Okay, next, I will explain about the native range and how it was introduced to the non-native areas. So, Imperator cylindrica is native to tropical and subtropical regions, which can be found in Africa, Southern Europe, ASEAN, including Southeast and East Asia, and Australia. It usually grown in warm and humid climate, especially in grasslands, savannas, roadside, disturbed areas, and open woodlands. Even though it is not native to the United States, it has been introduced to the southeastern US, the Caribbean, and some Pacific islands. In the US, it was introduced in two main ways, which is accidentally and intentionally. Okay, so now I will move on the ecological impact, especially in Malaysia. So first, imperata cylindrica will cause loss of biodiversity. It forms thick, continuous mat that dominate the open and disturbed area. Because it grows tall and dense, it blocks the sunlight and will outcompete the native plants for light, nutrients, space, and water. Over time, this leads to an imperata monoculture where only this species dominate in the area, and it will reduce the native plant diversity, lower species richness, and change the community structure. So secondly, it alters the fire regions. The plant will produce a lot of dry biomass, which make it highly flammable when fire occur. Imperata cylindrica can recover very quickly from its rhizome, which many native plants struggle to come back. This creates a cycle where the fire promotes more Imperata cylindrica, and this further damage the ecosystem. Thirdly, long-term infestation can cause soil degradation. Studies have shown that imperata cylindrica can change soil pH, reduce nitrogen and phosphorus, and modify soil microbial communities. This result will poor the soil fertility and slower the forest regeneration. Finally, as native ground cover and understory plants, it will decline. Many animals and cause their loss of habitat and food resources, and leading to a reduction in wildlife population and overall biodiversity. So, besides ecological effect, imperata cylindrica also causes serious economic impact, especially in agriculture and plantation sector in Malaysia. Its fast-growing rhizome system competes aggressively with crops such as oil palm, rubber, and food crop for nutrient, water, and sunlight. This competition reduces crop yield and forcing farmers and plantation managers to spend more on herbicides, repeated land clearing, and labor-intensive control method. The tough underground rhizome make land preparation more difficult and more expensive because even after the treatment, the weed can go back. And the large infestation also dry out quickly and increase the risk of fire plantation. This fire can burn crops, damage equipment, and delay future planting, which leads to further financial loss. So overall, Imperata cylindrica increase the production cost, reduce yield, and slow the land development, causing major economic loss. However, it is also important to mention that this plant has some potential economic benefits if managed it properly, because it grows well on a poor or degraded soils, so it can be used as a low-cost biomass source for. Okay, lastly for my part, I will briefly explain about the control and eradication measures used to manage Imperata cylindrica. This can be divided into mechanical, biological, and chemical control, and often they are combined in an integrated management approach. So for the first one is mechanical control. So one of the method is deep plugging, where the soil is plugged up to 6 meters and to remove or damage the rhizome. This is mainly used in agriculture field. So the second method is burning, which remove the above ground biomass. However, the burning alone is not effective because the plant can regrow from the rhizome. It is more effective when followed by herbicide application. Mowing can also temporarily reduce the above ground growth, but it must be done repeatedly, so it is not effective as the long-term solution. So for the second one is biological control. Currently, there is no effective biological control agent specific for Imperata cylindrica, mainly because about 60% of the plant biomass itself is in the rhizome, which is very hard to get. However, some plants can be used to compete with the common grass, for example, bahia grass, and other fast-growing legume to compete to the common grass and act as cover crops, occupying space and using resources so that Imperata cannot dominate easily. So the third one is chemical control, which is currently the most effective method. Herbicides such as glyphosate applied to the foliage and then translocate to the rhizome and preventing regrowth. The effectiveness depends on the application rate, climate, and the soil type.
Hello everyone, my name is Seng Ji Hong. Then I will present about the original field photo and the concept map. This photo is the original field photo of the Imbrata Shintigan that we take. Next, I will present about the invasive species concept map. From this concept map, we can see that the human disturbance is the factor that contributing to the growth of the imperata syndica. The human disturbance such as deforestation, land clearing, and construction can lead to the forest fire. This fire can occur intentionally when the people burn the area or the forest to propose agriculture or other purpose. This fire can cause the climate change because when the large area is burning, it will release the greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide to the atmosphere. Over time, the climate change can change the landfall, soil temperature, and the earth temperature, which can affect the topography. The topography refers to the natural shape of the surface of the land. When the topography is affected, it will cause the soil erosion or the degradation for the habitat of the flora and the fauna. When their habitat is destroyed, their population will decline and cause the reducing of the species richness. When the fire is burned out, it will create an open land when the most of the vegetation is disappear. This open land is suitable for the growth of imperata synthetica because they can survive in the poor soil, resist drought, and split regrowth because they have the extensive underground rhizome. The growth of the invasive synthetica can disturb the Trichodermata species and the Rhizobium species that can give benefit to the native plant species. The imperata synthetica disturb them by releasing the aromatic chemical that can inhibit their growth. Besides, the imperata syndica will outcompete with the native plant species such as the Xenopus complexus. The imperata syndica will block the sunlight and taking up the nutrients, water, and space. This will cause the population of the Xenopus complexus decrease. The Xenopus complexus is act as the food sources for the native herbivore, for the example, Muntaka muntak. When the Muntaka muntak lost their food sources, their population will become less. Then, when their population become less, the native carnivore Panthera tigris will lost their food sources. This is because the Muntaka muntak is the food sources for the Panthera tigris. When the Panthera tigris lost their food sources, their population will decline and cause the decreasing in the species business. On the other hand, the imperata syndica can provide food for the herbivore such as the cows. The cow only graze the young cobble grass shoot because as the imperata syndica mature, they will become tough and sharp, that not suitable for the cow to graze. Through its provided food, the cow will excrete the fixture that contain the nutrient that can give nutrient to the soil. Besides, the imperata syndica can create a habitat for the native bird species such as the black-head Wignia that can help in the seed dispersals. That's all for me. Thank you.